incident proves that women are not safe. It has become very difficult for us to step out of our houses. If such a horrendous incident can happen to her, then what will happen to a little girl or an elderly lady in Guwahati?
Guwahati is the capital of Assam, a state in northeast India. It is considered one of the most dangerous places for women to live in the country. Authorities are demanding that action be taken across the country to put an end to violence against women.
This incident should be taken very seriously, not only by the state of Assam, but also by other states, because the mindsets have not changed till now. Every girl has the right to move freely to go to a party. I'm confident that all the accused will be arrested, but it raises some key questions, the most important being the need for stringent laws.
Many people have criticized the police for intervening too late. Only 4 out of 20 men involved in the attack have been arrested. However, thanks to the video footage, nearly all of them have been identified. This may now break the silence around such violence that women face in India.
Let's now return to our top story. That two-day convergence ended with renewed calls for the restoration of normality to troubled parts of the continent. The situation in Mali and Guinea-Bissau came into sharp focus during discussions which saw African leaders seek United Nations intervention in the drive to return the two countries to constitutional order. Abdul Njai reports the leaders have also elected a new breed of African Union commissioners.
The President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yaya Jammeh, who witnessed the stalemate over the election of a chairperson for the Commission in January, returned precisely 7 months later to see to it that this issue was resolved, among others. The delegation he led to the 19th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union in Addis is testimony to the importance of the mission. Behind the doors of this magnificent building, the process had already begun. It pitted the incumbent Zamping against South Africa's Home Affairs Minister, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. After 3 rounds of voting, the former wife of Jacob Zuma was pronounced winner. She won by 37 votes, giving her the 2/3 majority needed.
I would like to end my statement with a favorite quote from one of William Shakespeare's play, As You Like It. I quote, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time played many parts. I have played my part, and I now take my bow." I thank you.
I hope, even though you say you've bowed out, if I do knock at your door asking for advice, the door will be open.
She's going to work based on the principles and aspirations of Africans. So whether a man or woman is there, the person is supposed to work for the interests of Africa, period. Not a change of modus operandum or whatever. But each administrator has his or her style of leadership. Well, there may be things that may change because it's a new person with her own style of leadership. But what is more important is that the fundamental principle and the objective of the AU cannot be diverted by any gender.
6 other commissioners were also elected to various positions in the commission. This in itself made the summit a success, for it was only at the opening session that the President of the African Union, Benin Siai Boni, told leaders that the political maturity of member states is being put to the test and that they cannot fail in the face of this scrutiny. It will have been degrading for the continental body that will soon celebrate 50 years of existence since its founding in 1963 and 10 years under the name of the African Union. From the exterior of the hall, photographs of our founding fathers are proudly displayed in black and white as a tribute, and from the inside, the voices of unity resonate yet more loudly. From the newly elected presidents of Senegal and Egypt, to the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho, the Secretary General of the Arab League, to the representative of the Palestinian Authority, these were voices of meaning, sustained by the vision that led to the creation of this African institution. The language of the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, representing Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, in one part extended a hand of friendship to Africa, and on the other pledges more support for the continent's development priorities, saying Africa is home to thriving democracies where elections are peaceful and the press is free. All this positive energy and vitality emanating from the continent, he said, should be recognized and acknowledged, not least when violent conflicts dominate the headlines.
I think the message we've been getting is that unless and until you put your house in order, how can you come out to the wall and tell us that you are a respectable institution and you've mean business? Last night's actions demonstrates, is a testimony that, you know what, we are an organization, we are an institution that should be respected, that should be commended for, despite our limited resources, we are moving mountains.
The guest of honor at the 19th ordinary session is the Emir of the State of Kuwait, His Highness Syed Sabah Al Ahmad Al Jabbar Al Sabah. His country's current support to Africa exceeds $6.4 billion US, in addition to a number of grants and aid to member states of the African Union, which is estimated at about $120 million. In his address, the Emir pledges additional support to Africa, telling leaders at the summit that the theme, boosting intra-African trade, represents a major economic force that will influence a change in the way the world deals with Africa.
We can only succeed in lifting our people out of poverty if we increase trade among ourselves. I mean, if all the trade flows towards the Western world, for instance, and not among ourselves, then we will not maximize on the gains of trade.
An agreement was later signed on the establishment of a joint commission for cooperation between the state of Kuwait and the government of the Gambia. The program, presided over by President Jammeh and His Highness Syed Sabah Al Ahmad Al Jabbar Al Sabah, signals the start of a new relations between the two states at the bilateral level.
The relationship between Gambia and Kuwait have always been very strong and excellent, and this current signing also is only further strengthening the relationship between Gambia and Kuwait. But we have very excellent relations, and it's not only for the Gambia, but the Kuwaiti Fund has changed a lot of lives of millions of Gambia Africans, especially with regards to rural development, infrastructure development. A lot of Africans today have better living conditions thanks to Kuwait.
Another agreement had also been signed between the governments of the Gambia and Australia. That too, signed by the foreign ministers of the two countries, covers the areas of agriculture, education and capacity building.
We've had diplomatic relations with Australia for a long time. We are part of the Commonwealth countries, Commonwealth a member state, but we have not actually documented anything major. We've been having scholarships from them, but now what we are saying is we have to deepen the relationship. As you are aware, recently Australia injected almost 50 million Australian dollars to Africa, and Gambia is a major beneficiary. Out of that 50 million Australian dollars, my understanding is that 28 million of that is coming to Gambia and is going to the agriculture sector.
A similar one dealing with trade, water management, agriculture, energy and private sector involvement had been agreed upon by officials of the Gambia and Portugal. The Gambian leader left Addis early Tuesday morning for Banjul, but with a transit to Niamey, the capital of Niger, received and treated with courtesy and decorated befittingly according to the traditions of the people of this part of Africa. He later boarded his aircraft to Banjul, ending what has generally been a fruitful mission. Abdou Ndiaye, GRTS.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. President Jammeh today returned to Banjul after attending the recent ordinary session of the African Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The West African Agricultural Productivity Program has armed farmers across the country with improved farming techniques. Somali officials have accused Al-Shabaab fighters of carrying out a bomb attack that killed one person and injured several others. And heavy fighting has erupted in the Syrian capital Damascus 16 months after the uprising sparked by the Arab Spring began. You can monitor GRTS Radio live on our website at www.grts.gm. That brings us to the end of the 8 o'clock news. Stay tuned and enjoy our range of interesting programs. Until then, my name is Abu Khadabo.